Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison. I want to welcome you to this session of Humanity Rising as we look afresh at a regenerative future. Amidst all the sturm and drang and turmoil and chaos of our world, both domestic and foreign, on many fronts that are pressing down upon humanity, the impulse for regeneration and renewal of nature, of the human community, and our relations as humans with other sentient beings, both terrestrial and cosmic, continues with, I would say, growing momentum. I've often said that things are getting worse and worse, better and better, faster and faster. And that's the nature of our time. That's one of the reasons why it's so exciting. It's so extraordinary to be alive at this time, to seek to comprehend, to seek to maintain one's inner equilibrium in the face of external chaos, and ultimately to manifest the compassion and the goodness that's in all of us, in our communities and around our world. I want to note that this Sunday coming up, 2 days' time, on the 23rd, we're having a psionic summit. So Ubiquity University and Humanity Rising and Transdimensional Mapping, our partner for our T Studies program, and the California Institute of Human Science, are coming together with other organizations to convene a summit on psionics, a new word that is beginning to enter the lexicon as humanity deepens and broadens its contact with extraterrestrial beings. Psionics pertains most fundamentally to the psychic connections, the telepathic connections within the ocean of consciousness that envelops all being, through which people, since time immemorial, have communicated with the extraterrestrials. The extraterrestrials are fluent in consciousness, and we need to gain that fluency ourselves. And there's many people that are very proficient in mental telepathy and remote viewing and the paraphenomenal. So we're very excited about this summit. Georg is going to put the link in the chat box, and you're all invited. I think we have well over 2,600 people already signed up, so it's going to be very, very exciting. We'll probably fill up our Zoom capacity at 1,000 and then go on to live streaming on YouTube and so forth. So it's really going to be quite a conversation. At the same time, as we're lifting our eyes and looking up and out to the cosmos, of equal importance, in fact, arguably of more urgent importance, is what we're doing in renewal and regeneration right here on our precious little planet. So today, we want to honor someone who has been seeking to recreate the natural rubber industry in Southern Oregon, and thereby save the rubber growth forests in different parts of the world, most of which are being completely decimated because of the demand just for the tires on our cars, to say nothing about the other uses of rubber. So today I want to welcome Greg O'Neill, who's a veteran. He served in the Navy and the Army. He's been involved in public policy, in journalism, and he's a tireless activist who's been working on developing natural rubber in Southern Oregon. So we thought it would be interesting as we continue to honor the multiplicity of our world and honor the people in all these different nooks and crannies of the global ecosystem who, in their own way, are working passionately for a regenerative future and a better world for our children unto the seventh generation. So I'd like to invite Greg to open his video and join our program. He's a regular in the after chats, so everyone knows Greg. And Greg, I turned the program over to you. Greg is going to have a PowerPoint that he's going to share, and then when he finishes with the PowerPoint, I'll circle back and we'll have a dialogue for the balance of the time, and then he'll join the after chat. Thanks, everyone. Welcome to Humanity Rising. Over to you, Greg.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Uh-oh.
You all right?
Let me try this again here. I know Georg saying I needed to go and hit the share button. Oh, hang on. Okay, well, let's try this again. Here we go. Hopefully this will work. We're having a technical difficulty here.
Georg?
We actually practiced it. Let's see, hit play. Okay, sorry guys. No, if I've hit the share on this. Georg, I don't know if he's available there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
So the
Okay.
green share button like before.
Yeah, I hit the share. I hit the share. Hit the play, and then it brings up the full screen.
But we don't see your screen yet.
Yeah, that's the okay. Here we go. Back to.
Go back to Zoom and click.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, try this again, guys. I've hit the share.
Then the dialog appears.
Yeah, it should. Okay, there, drop mail, export. I'm sorry, guys, this is not working. Yeah, we're not seeing it. Okay, sorry, we're having a difficulty here. I'm not quite sure why.
Well,
I might have to do this again some other time, guys. My apologies.
In the Zoom.
Yeah, I'm on Zoom now.
Yeah.
And
press the button like before.
Share. I've hit the share button.
Yeah. Then the dialog appears.
Yeah, not seeing the dialogue. I'm just saying, oh, wait a minute, maybe well, that's not working either.
Maybe you should disengage and come back in. Would that help, Georg?
I'm not sure. I mean, I can drop off the PowerPoint and bring that back up.
Try that, yeah. The thing is, you have to see the dialogue when you click on the share button.
Yeah, well, I'm not seeing the share. I'm not seeing. That's the problem. I'm not seeing the share button. I mean, the dialogue button. That's not coming up. No, I've got the little Zoom. No, maybe the glitch is possibly. No, I have the button. I'm not quite sure, guys. Raise hand, share. Let me try it this way. Okay, how about here?
There we go.
I think
Perfect.
I solved it.
Now I just click the play button.
Yeah, I think I just solved the problem here. Okay.
There we go.
Oh.
Okay. Hey, I'm online. All right, guys. Let's go in. First of all, again, this is Greg O'Neill. The PowerPoint presentation, White Tiger Food Forest Farms presentation. And this is my favorite icon, a Siberian tiger. Next page here is basically, we'll have our first location set up in Ashland. We'll have our training center there, put up structures and systems to be deployed for public education. We'll have our guests and visitors to come in and to experience for themselves the various systems that we'll be using for off-grid power, water, food production, and renewable materials for construction and fabrication. Here we'll have some examples of the greenhouse dome structures that we will be able to use on site. These will be primarily for our tropical food forests. We've got hundreds of species right now that we can grow in an effort to save many of these that are at risk right now from habitat loss, deforestation, climate change. The largest that I can get my hands on is 100 meters or 328 feet in diameter. It'll give us plenty of room. This is a slide with Dr. Katrina Cornish. She has been working for over 30 years trying to build support for a domestic natural rubber production because sadly the rubber trees that came originally from Brazil or in Asia, many of those are dying from fungal infections. In 2020, we lost 1 million trees and caused a drop of about 10–20% in the global natural rubber supply. So what Dr. Cornish had been working at Ohio State University to do is to use 2 alternative species that yield high quality natural rubber. One of them is the guayule. It's a desert plant that is good for a non-allergenic latex. It's used in medical industry applications for gloves, for hoses and machines. That way, it'll keep the contaminants from human flesh. On the left side is a vertical growing rack. These can be used for many of our plants that we'll be able to grow, such as the rubber root dandelion that you'll see in the center. But it offers, as we all know, dandelions grow like crazy, but this is a relative from Kazakhstan that has multiple roots, long, thick roots that can be sustainably harvested, portion of those roots every 90 to 120 days. And we'll be using a water-based mechanical process to separate out or extract the natural rubber from the roots. And then these particular dandelions are perennial, so we can continue to grow them throughout the year. Here's another picture of some of the systems and also the plants. Again, as far as the roots go, you can see that they're quite extensive. Here we have, oh gosh, there are 50,000 50,000 products that depend on natural rubber. Tires are only a portion of all the things that you can make. A typical car has 60 parts that require rubber. They cannot use synthetic because it's too brittle. Here we go for some of the other things that we can make: biofuel, bio-oil, biogas, biochar, even make some nutraceuticals there from the rubber of these plants. So it's not just the natural rubber that we can use. Another aspect I think that's very important is that each of our sites will be very biodiverse. We'll use permaculture to grow hundreds of species for fiber, food, medicinals, hardwoods. Right now, the chart here on the left is showing a growing demand here in the United States for organically grown food. And if you go to your local grocery store and processed foods, there are many chemicals added in, and we don't know really where those foods came from. So there is a growing demand by consumers to know exactly what's in their food, where it's coming from. This is a chart showing various levels of plants in a permaculture system. Originally, this came from a study of natural forests, showing all the different layers of natural plant growth. Robert Hart in England had an aha moment and said, well, maybe we can go and use plants that have economic value and planting and using those in each of those levels. So again, biodiversity, more things can be grown in a single acre of land now than just wheat or corn. This is a excellent picture here of the mycorrhizal network, fungal network in soil that scientists are now finding plants of different species in a natural forest are able to share carbon, sugars, water between each other through this fungal network. And it is symbiotic in that the fungus receives sugars that the higher plants use and produce. So it is an interconnected, interdependent system. Here are some of the systems, speaking of which, that we will be using on our sites, including the one on the right, which is a permanent magnet system. Doesn't need any fuel whatsoever to produce power. The one in the center, of course, is a solar voltaic system. The one on the left is called a wind tree and uses vertical axis wind turbines and the branches there, doing a little biomimicry. Here we have from power production, we have air to water generators. And of course, these can produce as much water as we'll need for our sites. And also any communities nearby would be able to go and share our water with them. This is the oldest known food forest. It's in the foothills of the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. And it has been providing food for the local communities for thousands of years. And once the food forest is actually established, it could continue to grow and thrive even without human beings being around. So again, this is all regenerative, restores nutrients to depleted soils. So this is part of our project here. If these, if any of you are interested, this last page, we have just a portion of the sites, companies that we'll be able to get products from. So if you want, please at any time contact me. I'll be more than happy to share my list of these companies with you. Okay, whoop. Jim, I think we're pretty good here as far as the presentation of the PowerPoint. If you want to get into anything else here, go over any of this with me, or allow for questions. Is there anything else we need to really, would you like me to go back over anything here, Jim? I think what we'll be doing is we'll be taking ranches that are available, hundreds of thousands of acres now, being able to not only produce the plants for rubber extraction, but we'll also...
Great. Why don't you stop the screen share?
Oh, can I stop the screen share? Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah. But as far as that goes, I try to kind of stretch it out, but I think most of the material there is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. Let's start with, how did you, as a military veteran, get involved in something like establishing a natural rubber
Oh,
endeavor in Southern Oregon? What was that pathway?
what's the pathway on that one? Oh, it's this has been decades in the making, Jim. When I got out of the military after Vietnam, um, it came to me that it was really important to try to find solutions to stop conflicts that lead to wars for the profiteers, the military industrial complex. In fact, when I was a newspaper editor down at Naval Air Station, Whiting Field, I would receive advertising, international, Jane's International Defense Review. And it was basically advertising for all these various companies that were producing weapon systems, from tanks to submarines to jets. It just was incredible. And thinking how much money that was being made by these companies selling these weapon systems to countries around the world in the interest of national security. Who is it that actually creates the conflicts that lead to wars? Is it the people that suffer and see their homes destroyed by bombing? No. It's the companies there, are the ones that are backing these companies, that can only make money if there's a conflict.
Yeah.
And to me, that was sickening. So I thought, okay, I'm going to look for solutions that provide energy, clean water, food, materials to go and create homes, sustain communities off the grid. We don't need smart grids. We don't need nuclear power plants or wind farms. As I learned over many years, we had that need. So then going back to how do I get the natural rubber? Well, it started from my interest in plants and seeing what they provide us with, essential oils, food, fiber for making our clothing with. And I decided, okay, as I discovered, America is in great need really of rubber. We do not produce any right now, not nothing, and yet we import and use 1.5 million tons each year from Asian sources. And during World War II, Japan cut those lines of supply for natural rubber. We were lucky in that Mexico had enough of their desert rubber plants for us to be able to extract, make tires for our military vehicles. We got lucky. But that's not necessarily the case now. And so even the Defense Department lists natural rubber as a critical strategic commodity we can't do without. So what's the solution? Then I made contact with Dr. Cornish, and I found out about her work developing, she called it Buckeye Gold, but there were cultivars of the rubber root dandelion that had higher percentages of natural rubber content. And so we go into dialogue, and I had already been thinking about how to use permaculture to be able to produce food for communities, for Americans, for export. So I just kind of integrated that. Why not? Put up the greenhouse domes, have different floors, use vertical farming systems, high density growing systems to be able to grow those dandelions. I don't need to raise rubber trees that take 9 years from planting to rubber tapping. Don't need that. The dandelions can be grown in temperate regions, indoors, year-round. We don't have to worry about climate specifically as far as where they're grown. We could grow these out in the deserts of New Mexico. Again, it's solution-based. If you find these systems that are available off the shelf, you can buy them. Why not bring them together? To me, that makes sense. You know, what are the things that people really need? Shelter, food, water, energy. All the solutions are there. So for us to have a regenerative future, I believe it's quite possible. But this is more than just telling people about it. They need to see it. They need to experience it. To me, that makes sense. One of my friends, Jim Gale, is the head of a global network of permaculture system designers. His website is foodforestabundance.com. And they're helping people to learn how to grow their own food at home, in their yards, in their condos or apartments. You can, instead of growing ornamental plants, you can grow food plants. Reduce your food bill. So, to me, all of that makes sense. And I think that the more people become aware of these solutions, then better off we'll all be.
And where are you in the process? You indicated at the beginning of your slideshow that this was projected. Do you have the land? How much land do you have?
Actually, right now I have a realtor over in Medford, Debbie Carr. She has my list of sites for us to go and visit, take a look at, and be able to secure. I will have access to funds to support humanitarian projects, mine included, fairly soon. Right now, we're having to wait for our President Trump, Treasury Department, Wells Fargo Bank right now to allow this event to take place. There's a lot of things going on right now that are not made publicly known. The mainstream media doesn't want to cover this. Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency right now are heading towards Fort Knox to go and check and see if there's any gold there. What is there to back the Federal Reserve note US dollar? Nothing. There's nothing there. So what is going on right now has been called the global currency reset, revaluation. Basically, even President Trump mentioned having a level playing field for all countries to have asset-backed currency. Russia, the BRICS nations did that first. They stepped up with their own asset-backed currency. Other countries said, "Hey, that's a great idea. We don't want to use the central bank's paper money that has nothing to back it. Makes no sense. So value for value." So this is a process that's underway. In fact, over 7 years ago, I was lucky enough to be invited to meet the CEO of a company called Disruptive Technologies to go and share some of these solutions. And I was paid for that. And I actually wound up with enough to do some investment. I had a friend of mine encouraged me to go and invest in some bonds. And turns out that those bonds are denoted in a currency that is currently being traded on Forex markets. So it does, and the currency is actually gold asset backed. So again, process of changing over from the bonds over to spendable assets to be able to buy ranches and equipment and hire people and
Fantastic.
start doing something fantastic.
I would have thought that the Pentagon or some of the big corporations involved in these kinds of things would be very interested in establishing a domestic natural rubber industry.
No, that is to me glaring. I mean, why wouldn't they?
Astonishing. It's
Why wouldn't
astonishing.
that? This is something that's dire need of. And in fact, marketwatch.com in 2020, they said that the global valuation of natural rubber sold that year was $40 billion US dollars. They project $86.5 billion for next year. And that is a reflection of the growing global demand for natural rubber because more countries start to produce products that need that natural rubber. So what happens when the demand goes up? Supply goes down. In fact, 70% of the natural rubber produced right now is done by small farmers in Asia who have a few acres of land and a few rubber trees that they tap for latex. And then they have to use acid and ammonia to coagulate the latex into sheets of natural rubber that they sell. Well, the farmers are saying, wait a minute, this is, health risks. We're not getting anything really to speak of in the commodity markets for what we produce. So let's drop those rubber trees and put up trees that actually provide us with food or something that we can actually make a living from. So again, the supply is dropping, demand is going up. What happens to American manufacturers that make 50,000 products that require that? We're going to be in big trouble. And so it's critical that we do this. And with my plans right now and working with Alan Olber at Green Technology Global, he actually bought all rights to the genetic material for those rubber plants from Ohio State University and the water-based extraction process to be able to get that material. His company also has, he calls it the containerized portable turbine energy power generator. It can use all different fuels, biofuels, to produce from 5 to 20 megawatts of power, gigawatts when the units are connected. It can use syngas biofuel. We can make the biogas, that biofuel from the plants after we extract the natural rubber. So it's kind of a circular thing. I can produce power, water, food, and the natural rubber our country needs. And by utilizing all these different ranches that are now up for sale and starting to grow food, natural rubber, then eventually you can take America from being an importer to become an exporter to the growing global markets.
So how much land is required? How much land are you looking for?
Well, I've actually got between, New Mexico, Oregon, Montana, there's hundreds of thousands of acres. But if you do the math, 1.5 million tons, and that's what we used back in 2020, that is 3 billion pounds. 3 billion pounds. Now let's say that we needed, say, 10 plants to snip off a section of roots to put into that extraction system. So we'd need maybe 10 of those dandelions or the guayule plants. So we've got to have a lot of plants.
Yeah. Yeah,
So again,
that's a lot of land.
right, well, that's exactly right. But it's not just for growing, it's for getting people fed, it's for creating communities that are off grid. And Oregon offers what's called a cooperative corporation model, business model. So my plans are to bring people in a co-op, kind of like a food co-op, except we'll offer housing as well and training. So we can take vets like myself who are looking to get back into being civilians or people who are homeless, giving them year-round work, producing food, having a wonderful lively, a lifestyle that's in nature, surrounded by food forests. To me, that would be a living legacy that I could pass along to future generations.
Of course. So you're thinking of both natural rubber and food forests
Correct, absolutely.
on the land.
With biodiverse plantings using permaculture, we can put up greenhouse domes on that same land surrounded by the food forests. Then we have our people that are sustainably harvesting food, selling it to farmers markets, food banks, churches, schools, sharing that abundance of food from all those different species while we have our vertical farming on different floors within the greenhouse domes.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now let's talk about food forests.
Yes.
What would go into a food forest? Like all the kind of nut trees and fruit
No,
trees.
no, think broader. Potatoes, yams, those are root crops. Cover crops offer
And you let them just grow wild.
oh no, these are all things that have been grown in different countries for thousands of years.
No,
And
but I mean, in the food forest, do you just let nature take its course? Is it a rewilding or is there careful
That's
cultivation
you
with
could say
rows?
you could say yeah, you could say it would be rewilding if you're using and many people are. They're actually using local food producing plants, native plants, but they're also using other species. Look at example Hawaii, coconuts, pineapples, papayas, mangoes. Those are not native to Hawaii. Sugarcane. All of those were brought in, but they're growing on the land. So what we're doing here, and just like that slide I showed in Morocco, that had been growing there for 2,000 years, over 2,000 years. Humans did that. They're finding out now that in Brazil, in the Amazon basin, that is the largest food forest deliberately planted by humanity in the world. It was done by an advanced civilization in the past. They even had canals to transport
Yeah,
water around. So the food forest concept is not new. It is something that's been used for many, many, thousands of years. We're just starting to catch on to that. We don't need chemicals. We can use organics. We can do what nature does.
of course.
Use that as our example, just as Robert Hart did. He spent 20 years studying natural forests, and then he said, I think I'll get some land. And so he bought a 5-acre orchard, apple orchard, and he started planting species of different varieties from root crops, ground covers, vines, what are called understory plants, canopy trees, all of the different levels, including aquatics, and those that grow along the edges of ponds. You have 9, 10 layers of plant growth on a single acre or 5 acres. One of the sites I'm aware of, it's called the 10th Acre Farm. And a family said, hey, let's go and see what we can do in our backyard, or front yard. So they're growing food. They've got chickens. They've got their little mini farm on 1/10 of an acre. How many homeowners have at least a half acre of land around their home? In fact, there's a woman there. She's now over in Spain, but she started in Oakland a global movement. It's called Food Not Lawns. She tried to get people to say, hey, wait a minute, instead of growing lawn grasses that we have to spray with chemicals and we have to water into, why not just clear that out and grow plants so we can actually eat, make meals from? So again, this is something that's going on globally. A wonderful story I would like to share here is that a permaculture teacher in Zaire went to a primary school near her and offered to teach the kids permaculture. And the educators said, good idea. So they let her go and teach the kids. And together with the kids, they set up an outdoor classroom. And the kids turned the schoolyard into a food forest. They produced enough food for the kids to have their meals at school and a surplus to take home to their families.
No kidding.
The adults, the parents got involved, and other schools said, hey, that's a great idea. So now in Zaire, they have trees, food for Africa. And the national central government gotten involved. So now it's around their country. Why couldn't we do that here in America?
Totally.
Does that make sense?
Makes total sense. But we gotten so used to just going down to the local Safeway.
Right. But now if you pick up that processed food and start looking at the chemical ingredients in it,
Awful.
what's that doing to our bodies?
Yeah. Well, I was listening to Robert Kennedy Jr. The other day, giving his first speech as Secretary of Health and Human Services, and he was pointing out that Americans are the unhealthiest people in the world.
Yes.
In the world. We're the only country where 2/3 of our population has chronic diseases, and most of us have more than one chronic disease.
And where did it come from? Where those diseases come from, Jim? The processed foods, the chemicals
exactly right.
Loaded in there.
Yeah. And environmental pollution and other related issues.
Absolutely.
The vaccines and so forth. So, I mean, what you're doing, Greg, is of critical importance. And what are the main obstacles that you're facing now? I mean, you have the plan, you have the plants.
I have the plan. Listen, it goes back to that same thing that we all face: finances, money. Right now, this is what I've heard from my intel sources. There's President Trump, there's the Treasury Department, there's the military, Wells Fargo Bank is involved. They are very well aware of the revaluation of currencies like the Iraqi dinar, the Vietnamese dong, the list goes on. These are all being revaluated, pegged to gold asset backing.
Yeah.
Right now.
That's the BRICS. That's the strategy of the BRICS.
Right, exactly right. But here, there is a transition going on. And it is that our Republic Treasury over in Paiute land in Nevada, we have a new treasury. And we also have a new currency. It's called the rainbow currency. U.S. Treasury note, also called a U.S. note. And that is our new currency that is asset-backed by assets here in America. Gold, silver, platinum, oil, this goes on. So
So
we,
it's like a basket, what they call the basket,
thank you.
different
Exactly.
commodities and so forth that collectively, like gold singly used to do,
Oh,
the
yeah,
basket of currencies and commodities is what you're creating.
exactly right. So we
Yeah.
have a very wealthy country, just like President Trump says, hey, we have more oil right now than the rest of the world. We have the shale. We have oil shale there in huge amounts. In fact, there's a company called Fronteras that is looking for investors right now, and they're basically taking coal and making other things from it, clean coal, clean products, biofuels. And so there's a revolution coming in terms of energy, of getting away from the people that are trying to give us a handful of genetically engineered foods, frankenfoods. Well, who's doing that? Big ag,
Big ag.
pharmaceutical.
Yeah. Monsanto.
Thank you, Monsanto, DuPont. They're trying to give us these genetically engineered things that our bodies are going to react to, and it's going to cause us to become sick and to die soon. So again, what we need to do is to turn this whole ship around, go back to nature, go back to the natural cycles.
Exactly.
And that's
now, what is your timeline? I mean, let's assume you had resourcing, or at least the initial funding. Is this a 10-year project before it really gets?
Actually not. We could probably be within the next year, 2 years, having land, having structures, having people trained, going to different locations, training other people. But I'd love to be able to have this going later this year. Start hiring people, bringing people in. Jim Gale has already told me that as many permaculture designers that I need as teachers, I can get them through his network. So again, we're looking at being able to do this and get people on, get the homeless, get them into our co-op system and getting them a place to stay and work to do and food and get them off the streets.
Exactly. Well, Greg, I certainly wish you all the best, and I hope that the Trump administration and the Department of Government Efficiency understands that the resourcing that go your way would not be considered fraud, waste, and pointless money. They're looking for a lot of things to close down and shut down and eviscerate. So you're soliciting funding from government sources at a very delicate moment.
Yes, well, we have Brooke Rollins is one of the appointees to head the Department of Agriculture. I've tried to get through to her to present her with this. Say, wait a minute, Department of Agriculture should be right in there. I've tried to get a hold of the energy councils. I told them, I've sent them letters. No response. Zip, nada.
Unbelievable.
So to me, it just boggles the mind. It's like, wait a minute, guys, where's the resistance coming from?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I think it's one of those laws of nature that the more obvious the good, the more powerful the resistance. It seems to be built in.
Oh, absolutely right. Well, the more of the corruption that is uncovered, documented, get these people up for trials, military tribunals. They're sedition, treason, violating our laws. Giving us this commercial maritime law, the Crown law from Britain. It's a holdover. We need to get back to constitutional common law, and that movement's taking place, but it's a slow process.
Yeah, common law and the global commons.
Yes,
is what
thank
we need to get back to. Absolutely.
Basic human rights, sovereignty for everyone.
Absolutely. Well, good. Well, listen, thank you so much. I've been just fascinated. I'd never thought of natural rubber in Southern Oregon, but you've made a very powerful case. I think we all wish you well, and maybe 6 months from now we can have you back to just give us an update on your progress because it could play a very significant role in the regenerative future to which you're committed.
Well, yes, and I've also got people that are documentary filmmakers, and they're saying, "Hey, once you have this set up, we'll come and
Yeah,
make documentaries, and we'll get it out to the world."
yeah, gotcha.
There's actually there's a company over in Dubai's Silicon Oasis, and they want to put my project into their metaverse so that people can use virtual reality. They can go in and look at what we're doing, have a reflection of what we're doing on the ground in virtual space with a marketplace for people to go around and see what we're growing and order products. We could do this globally.
Great, great. Well done, brother. Well
Well,
done.
I've
I
been
love it.
looking
I
at it.
love it.
I keep punching the bag there. It's going to go.
That's what all any of us could do, my friend.
Absolutely. But let me drop something on you here too. We've talked about this. We're part of something much, much bigger. We have our local galaxy. We have our neighbors out there, advanced cultures, people that are zipping around from one planet to another, stepping through a portal from one point to another. And they're all watching us. They're saying, "Hey, wait, why not? Why can't we go and have that intergalactic commerce? I mean, all those hundreds of plants that I'm going to be growing for food. Hey, by the way, we can have our embassy for the galactics come down, visit, and trade with us, and have a wonderful time." So I'm looking forward to it. I know it'll happen.
Yeah, you could export natural rubber to star system Sirius.
Well, not just that. We'll have fibers for
Totally.
textiles, fabrics. We'll have food, essential oils, healing extracts, all of that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, thank you, Greg. Thank you so much. Greg will join the after chat. You'll see the link. Stan will put the link in the chat box. You receive the link in your Zoom reminders for today. Then Monday, we're going to go to Germany, to Jena, which is the site of the world's first astronomical observatory and planetarium in the modern era. And we're going to hear about immersive media and how immersive media can activate the imagination and engender all kinds of artistic creativity. So that'll be on Monday on Humanity Rising. That'll do it for us for today, everybody. See you Monday. Thank you so much, Greg.
You're
Bye.
welcome, Jim. Thank you. Well, I'm looking for the after chat. There it is. We'll meet you there.
All right.